So a lot of Epstein information just got released. But it is my belief that the entire right-wing media almost is essentially state media. They exist to lie and manipulate conservatives into whatever it is that the elites in power want the conservatives and Republican voters to believe. So if that's the case, right now, with the Epstein files potentially coming out, finding out information about Trump actually spending hours with the victims, doing you know what, the Republican Party would like us to not talk about this. They would like to deflect. Trump's talking point is that it's a hoax. So let's see how much of the right-wing media acts like state media and ignores this story or calls it a hoax. So here's Fox News. So far, not a single story about what we just learned about the Epstein files. Just to be thorough, let me do a search. They have a lot of content. I expect them and Tim Cass or Tim Pool to be one of the few that actually talks about this at all. So there's not a single video about the Epstein files on their page, and as you can see, there's lots of, I'm talking about from today, and you see there's lots of videos. So Fox News is like, our viewers are stupid, the government doesn't want us talking about this, so let's not talk about it, because we are state media. Newsmax, nothing. Talking about Antifa, ending the government shutdown. So there's tons of conservatives who are not even being given the respect to know about what happened. So some liberal will be talking to them, what do you think about these files? What files? I didn't hear anything about that. So they're treating Republican voters like children. Blaze TV, TPUSA, Obama, Jihad, not a single video. Tim Pool, I'm sure, has something. Nothing on this channel. Steven Crowder for sure wants to talk about it. Mr. Penis in your face guy. Not a single video. Crowder bites. Not a single video. Ben Shapiro. Not a single video. Officer Tatum. Silence. The government doesn't want Republican voters to know about what we're finding out about Trump and Epstein. And Officer Tatum. So Officer Tatum is he's on the side of protecting elites who assault children. Mr. Jesus Tattoo Guy. What do you know? Another person dangling around the cross who has no morality whatsoever. No values, no nothing. Soulless. Tim Cass RL. I'm actually surprised that even Tim Pool is not posting about it. I'm sure, I can guarantee he's got stuff on Twitter, but he didn't feel that this is worth something to share with his audience. And if he were to hear me saying this right now, he would say, well, it's all over CNN. I don't need to make a video about it. Right. And what would he say if something that made the left look bad was not being reported by the left? That'd be a big scoop. Oh, the left is trying to cover up. But when he does it, oh, it totally makes sense. Right. Project Veritas. Where's the expose? No videos for the last 2 weeks. Nothing to say. Conservative twins. Not a single video. Silence. Dave Rubin. Not a single video. It's time to make a video about Mamdani, though. So understand that so far the entire right-wing media are all helping to protect PDF files. That's what they're doing. And this is not like when the right wing would just, loosely saying, oh, the Democrats pedo ring and, some made-up conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. Major breaking news. They have no interest in talking about it. Not even to say that it's a hoax, right? That's the talking point from the government. It's a hoax, right? Not even to say it's a hoax. Or that it doesn't really show that Trump actually committed a crime and to wiggle around and try to explain how it makes sense or maybe these emails are not really real. The major story And Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, conservative twins, Crowder, no interest. They exist to keep American conservatives in a bubble, to keep them misinformed, to paint an alternative reality, which leads them towards voting for the people who fund a lot of these guys. Right? Ron DeSantis, remember that guy? Man, did he fall off? I haven't heard anything about him in a while. Just like Dan Bongino. He admitted sending money to Ben Shapiro, right? These elites funding these networks with the billionaires, all to keep the American conservative in a matrix that leads them to voting for the most corrupt, decrepit people in the country so that they can legislate in a way that funnels more power and more money at the top while leaving their very audience to starve with no health care, can't afford to pay their rent or their mortgage, giving their jobs away to other countries, right? They will deport the immigrants so that their audience can go and pick apples and be poor and own nothing and be happy, right? But for the conservatives who want to pull us up by their bootstraps and get a job that actually pays real money, oh, let's give those jobs to the H-1B visa. Oh, no, but wait a minute. I made it harder. It's $100,000. Right. Lasse Berholt, who may not even be a real person, probably isn't a real person, vanished after the election. Hasn't had anything to say in a long time. Dan Crenshaw, nothing to say. Silence. Matt Gaetz, of course, the guy who was friends with a child sex trafficker, wouldn't have anything to say about this. This is somebody else that the Republican Party is protecting. Yet another child predator being protected by the Republican Party. Liberal hive mind, posting a video about Tim Pool needs your help. Chuck Schumer, Hassan Piker detained in China. So at least this guy, I'm assuming this is one of the emails he's talking about here. At least he was willing.
Honestly, I tried the new bearskin
to try and spin it. Like I said, they don't have to say like, "Oh, Trump was wrong." They could tell us how it's not what it looks like. But the fact that they don't want to say anything at all just tells you they are state media. They are propagandists. Left-wing media is propaganda as well. Let's be clear. But nothing like right-wing media, right? Left-wing media is not state media, right? The state doesn't like left-wing media. A lot of these Democrats won't even go on some of these really partisan left-wing media channels, right? Most of them. They only feel safe in the corporate media, CNN, MSNBC. But almost the entire Republican Party, unless you're calling out Donald Trump, feels totally comfortable going on right-wing independent media. Let that sink in and think about what that means. Yep. So he's trying to spin. So at least that's the thing. You could talk about it like he's got some kind of an angle. Why aren't these other right-wingers talking about it? Right? At a minimum, if they're MAGA's under attack. The leader of MAGA is Donald Trump, and they're trying to say he's doing something with Epstein. So why aren't they out defending him and saying, "Oh, Trump did nothing wrong"? Why are they just like, well, nothing to see here? Right. Michael Knowles, he's got nothing to say. But Antifa, Black conservative perspective. As usual, some of the most dishonest people in right-wing media are, for some reason, the brown-skinned people, like Tatum and this guy. So he is literally using the government talking point of, "Oh, it's Epstein, it's a hoax." Right. And now we're going to see something very interesting. A little game that these propagandists play is, if you really want to know what they're really up to, you got to go on Twitter. Right? Twitter is where they do the rage farming, and they say what they really feel. On YouTube, they'll play a character. They try to sanitize things. But if you want to know what people are really up to, go check their Twitters out. So Laura Ingraham, apparently she's not really big on Twitter. Something's up. I don't know why I'm not showing anything new, but I think I made my point. Comment below and let me know why you think that no one in right-wing media is even talking about the Epstein files that just got released, the leaked emails. Not to debunk, not to confirm, not to just simply share with their viewers what's happening in the country. Especially, a lot of these channels are far right, so the kind of people watching them are not watching CNN. So if you're not talking about it, then they're not going to know. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is to protect people who are predators of children from accountability. Because as long as the voters don't know what's really going on, they're not going to put pressure on their politicians to release the files and go after these creeps. Is that what this is all about? Is the entire right-wing media trying to protect people like Bill Clinton? Interesting. This is the Baby Channel. The comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.